crashing after this. I haven't slept yet.
Wait, you're still up?
My sleep schedule's.
Oh, no wonder.
It's off.
I mean, the only reason I suggested 11 o'clock to start, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what time he's gonna be up. We'll do 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was just let me see if this will either make me sleepy or if this is a pivotal moment. It determines whether I'm going to crash or whether I'm going to use it to energize the rest of my day. I think I'm going to crash.
Okay.
I crashed. I missed the third batch of startups because I took a post lunch nap. And I missed the finals too. But
I mean, so what do you do, like, especially in a place like this where you've never been? I mean, you've been on the continent. You're in South Africa, which is obviously different in a lot of ways. What do you do between the hours of midnight and 9 a.m.? Do you just hang out in the hotel?
Well, midnight. I mean, last night. I went out. I know it's a comedian friend of mine, Basket Mouth.
Basket Mouth.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Yeah. So after the after party, I went to his party. I guess it was a rap party that he was having. He has a show out here, Flatmates. So it was a rap party for his crew. Went by there, and then there was another comedian, Bucci, is from here. Went to a restaurant, went to a bar, went to a restaurant. We then got back here around 3.
So you actually know a fair number of people out here.
Just know those folks, and they've been introducing me to some other
enough to keep you busy for like 3-4 days.
Yeah, they've taking me around, and then all you really need to fill the day is 2 things because the traffic will take care of everything else.
I was hosting the event, and I got up on stage at like 9:45, and I looked out in the audience, and there were 2 rows.
Yeah,
and we were just like, oh, like, you never really know.
Right.
You come to a new place, and then, an hour or so later, it filled up. Mm-hmm. And somebody said, like, the good news is once people are here, they're not leaving.
Right.
You have to really want to go somewhere.
Right.
I mean, you'll hear, like, I don't know how much this is going to pick up on the mic, but we're right by the freeway. And one of the sides, it looks like a parking lot down there.
It's not flowing at all. And from I landed from the airport from clear customs to hotel, everything all together is about 4.5, close to 5 hours.
To get from the airport to
because then it was finding the person that was picking me up, and then going to outside, waiting for the ride. Of course, the ride, they're in traffic coming to the airport, so it takes them an hour to get to me, and then maybe 3 hours for the drive crazy traffic where you're like, man, you just think about how it affects your personality if you had to deal with it every day.
I mean, everybody seems really nice here. I don't know if it's just my experience, but like everybody seems very pleasant. I guess they everybody just takes it out on the road while they're out there.
Or maybe that's where you develop your personality. Is in the car. You just practice who you're gonna be for the rest of your life. You got so much time. Maybe I'll be this guy.
You go one or two ways, right? You either get pissed off screaming dude, or you get kind of zen about it, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, if I can deal with this, like I won't even drive in New York.
I only drove twice when I was living there, and one of the times I had to get on the tunnel, and it was terrible.
If you can be zen about it,
if
you can handle this.
Well, I think it's just you can't really change it, so you have to just deal with it. And after a while, it's kind of normal.
I like your approach to travel, though. I mean, I guess you travel a lot, but you don't really get a lot of time generally when you go to a place.
It depends on how my dates are scheduled. And so, if I can, I try to just give myself a little more time. If it's a good city, just give myself an extra day or two just to relax and not have a gig and not have it be a travel day.
I guess you're at a point now where you can spread it out a bit, right? You're able to pick and choose more than you used to be able to.
I mean, I've been able to do that for the past few years. It's just doing it. and actually, where you I was in a mode more of really just hitting it and working and making, every day is a tour date and really going after it. And then now it's more like, okay, let me just relax a little bit, and the work, especially live work, will be there. And it was more, a lot of times when you're dealing with movie scheduling and other TV stuff, that takes up other days, so you have to fill in these spots. So yeah, I've been just trying to enjoy places more and travel for leisure and hang out. So it's and then just ahead of time, I don't plan on doing cold weather places in January anymore. Yeah. Was okay, it's January. All right, we can pick our spots. January, we're gonna do West Palm Beach. We're gonna do Tampa. We're gonna do San Diego. We're gonna do fuck this going to Canada in January. We'll go to Canada, even and I'm from Chicago, and the cold. I grew up in it, but it's still okay. If we don't have to, let's work around this shit.
It is weird being here, seeing Christmas decorations. It's 90 degrees outside and you see Christmas decorations out here.
It's great Christmas lighting out here. It's great.
Do you need to segment your life
that? How weird is this? Is just my first interview in Nigeria is just with a white dude. My only.
That's fair. I don't know. I mean, it seems like you went out of your way to make this not a work trip, though. I mean, you're doing the TechCrunch stuff. You're checking out startups, but I mean, you probably could have done a show here if you wanted to.
I might still do a show. Yeah. I'll probably do a show on the weekend.
I mean, the reason why your first interview is with a white dude is because you didn't announce your presence.
Yeah.
I checked because I was talking to our friend Megan, and I was like, oh yeah, this is weird. He's gonna be there during our event, and not in any formal capacity.
Yeah.
I'll check out his Twitter to just make sure that she's right about that. And I looked at her Twitter and there was I don't think you've mentioned that you're here at all.
I just posted up a picture yesterday, last night. Yeah, I'm not big on that. Sometimes if I want to find out what's going on in a place or get some recommendations, then I'll ask. But a lot of times, yeah, I wouldn't say it's secretive because I did post, but I just sometimes like to go somewhere and not constantly update about it if it's not necessary.
This is just one of those places you go, you're like this. It's fucking cool. I'm here. I want to tell people that I'm here.
Yeah,
because I've been basically trapped in the hotel for the last 2 days.
Right.
So I've been hey everyone, check out this Chinese restaurant I ate at in Nigeria. It's crazy. They're playing Eminem and we're we're in Africa and we're eating Chinese food and they're playing American rock and hip hop music.
Yeah, it was at the party last night. The band was when I got there. The band was doing a cover of "I'm Not Afraid."
It would be interesting performing at a place like this. You feel like you have material that's a little more universal, or just given how ubiquitous technology and culture is?
Yeah, I mean, I would do. If I did a show here, I would do a few minutes up top of just what my experience has been here.
Yeah,
and then after that is back to business. Just regular. You're not gonna do you're not gonna get a whole hour of just Nigeria jokes. I'll give you some because it is interesting, but it's just that can't be the whole show.
You give them real-time updates from your trip from the airport to the hotel.
I will talk about that, but that only fills up if I'm doing a full set, if I'm doing an hour 15 type show, you get some of that, and I mean, here's I figure, I mean, it's a city of 20 million people. I feel like there 500. I get 500.
You can fill up a room.
That know my stuff and my material and my tone. So yeah, that would be the show. And that's how I approach it with most foreign things anyway. It's just, here's a few jokes about what happened while I was walking around today or what I saw in your paper or something. And then it's into the show.
People like that, dumb American in our country.
Well, it's not even. It's just people like hearing outside perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's just if you're a fan of a comedian, then you've heard other material of theirs and their perspective on something. So it's like, what has it been like for him at this place? I want to hear that.
So you're able to just do that, decide to do a show, and it'll come together?
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's just really getting a venue, and you have a microphone. It's pretty simple. It's not a big tech setup as far as you don't have to put a band together and all that. Yeah. I mean, my regular show, I do have a DJ, and we do some visual projections and different things like that, but it's not absolutely necessary. I can do it. So yeah, you just, I think especially knowing these comedians here, they could help out with getting the venue and helping with the promo. So it's just doing it.
I've had to get better in my life about setting aside travel time and making sure that there's time that I'm not working. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you're leaving the option open. About
the show. The show is we haven't locked it down yet, but yeah. But even still, it's been, it's also a 10-day trip, you know what I mean? It's a pretty long trip, so you do one gig.
I talk to a lot of people in like bands and comedians, writers, and when you're a freelancer, when you're not like going into a job 9 to 5, and when you do something creative, it's tough to draw that line, right? I mean, in a way, like you can't really turn it off. You're always kind of working in the background.
Well, there's it's just not traditional work, and it's not always. Some of it is tangible work. Okay, I wrote these jokes, or I finished this thing up, or I designed this, and now that is a thing that I did. And then some of it is, coming up with ideas or concepts and free writing, and it might not be something that you use for years. Or it might not come together for a while, but it still works. So even just yesterday, we were just at the restaurant. We were talking about, that could be cool if we did kind of a crossover comedy film. If it was like me as a Black American, like visiting my cousin that's African, and I moved there. And we have a business or something, and then we started talking about that a little bit. That's sort of work, you know what I mean? But it's not physical. It's not that demanding. It's just a conversation. But acted upon and executed, then it can become a product down the line.
Have you gotten better about actually like executing on that down the road? Because I feel like we all sit around, we're all like, what if? Yeah, what if this was a movie, or like what if we did a startup or something?
We're gonna see. I've been trying to be better about that lately, and that's been one of my intentions. Is just to, if I really do like an idea, just giving it the best shot that I can, and trying to think of the folks that help it move along. Just because I do have a bunch of different things going on. That I care about all of them, and it things that I want to make happen, but can't always actively work on it. So just assembling a team for certain things. So I want to be better at that, and versus just having a convo and then time passes, and this and that, and then stuff isn't being acted on. So that's one thing.
One of the downsides of being successful, and your career's definitely taken off a lot in the past couple of years, is your time becomes a lot more precious.
Right.
You don't have as much time to sort of do something that's maybe just for you.
No, I've been better at just, let's I'm gonna just work on this today. I'm gonna just chill. And it's been good, man. It's been because you can get kind of caught up and really work. And I remember that run in 2015 where I did, I'm not sure when the South Africa gig was, but I did like London, Dublin, and Dubai. I think we got into London a day before the gig and we were able to do some stuff, but just went to Dublin for one night. You know what I mean? And got in the day of the show, did the show, left that morning. That was my first time in Ireland, And I'm like, what the fuck? I just did one day, like not even a full 24 hours in this country. It has, just an interest in history and all that. And so I was like, man, I want to, make sure, even it's good to be efficient and make money and all that, but also you want to experience stuff, especially when you there for a little bit. I always think about that trip a lot, like that one day, and then off to Dubai. I'm like, oh.
I mean, you can go back.
You can go back, but yeah, definitely go back. But that's all.
How long were you in New York for?
I lived in New York about 8 years.
8 years,
yeah.
And then moved back home.
Yeah, I went to Chicago 2 years ago.
I mean, obviously, like now that you're getting these movie gigs, you're probably out in LA a fair bit.
I go to LA not for movies, but just kind of to meet with people and work on some other things. A lot of movies film elsewhere. It's filming in Atlanta,
but like auditions, stuff like that.
I don't audition that much. I mean, they pop up, but I really don't book from auditions like that. I book off of offers, and sending tapes is better than doing auditions because you can just make the best tape. You don't have to, if you fuck up, you don't have to send it.
I say that because like an idiot, I was like, oh yeah, you were in game night, right?
I did. Oh yeah.
I do like 99% of my movie watching on planes.
Yeah.
And you knew exactly what I was talking about because Tags had a nice little afterlife on the plane.
Yeah.
But you're like, I auditioned for a game night.
Yeah. It was probably one. I think I did maybe just 2 auditions. Yeah. That is a rare, and that's why, because I was like, I didn't get it. That auditioning doesn't work.
Yeah. So Chicago it's a good home base for you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's where I'm from. I just enjoy being there. It's just comfortable being home and just knowing exactly where to go, driving without having to look at GPS or your phone. That's a different. You drive differently. Yeah. Just that comfortable driving, never having where do I turn and no, just active and just listening and vibing to the music, little shit like that. And I'm working on this arts and kind of tech after school center. So I got this building. Couple years, I got the building too early. Because it wasn't really competition for it. Yeah. I got the building, and we're just now getting into the groove.
You get the building, and you're like, "Oh, now I have to do it." Like at the very least, it's you committed to the.
That was part of the reason I got it. That I bought the building, because I don't even know financially if that's the way you're supposed to do a nonprofit. But I was like, you know what? If I buy this property, then I got to make some moves. I can't just have this big building and just sit it
until you buy it or commit to something. It's the movie about you and your Nigerian cousin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that thing that's just like, it's one of like 50 ideas that you're like, maybe at some point I'm going to get around to this.
Yeah. So yeah, that did make it, I didn't get going with it when I wanted to, but everything is in motion now. We got the architects coming up with their plans for the rebuild. So that's a real thing. And I wanted, that's part of the reason I moved back, is because I wanted to, work on that and build that in my old neighborhood. Yeah, it's nice being home. It's cheaper there than New York, and it's more space to move, and I felt I could be more productive there than in New York.
Why was this project specifically, that building, that sort of, I guess like an after school project? It sounds like.
The exact programming is still. That'll develop over time, but it's more just an art center and just tech center. Just give kids training opportunities and have them just coding classes, music.
Why was this project an important one for you?
It was just I found myself, donating to charities and either performing at benefits or just cutting a check, but not really doing anything. And so it was just me, okay, how can I have a project that, is substantial, that I'm really putting forth an effort and pulling all the resources that I can, versus, just kind of being like, hey, I donated, boom, there you go. Yeah. There it is. You do whatever you doing over there with that. I don't know. Yeah. All I know is I gave that shit. It could be going to some gear or computer stuff. It might be going to the chairman's of the nonprofit's mortgage. Who knows? Yeah. But so it was just me wanting to have something that I definitely knew what was going on with. And the exciting thing about it is that I kind of you pulling from a bunch of worlds just to get it going, whether, with the architects, you dealing, even from the beginning of it, dealing with the real estate people, then it's architects, then you got to get a board together and you got to get funding, and there'll be, performances and classes. So thinking about the programming and all of these different things and different folks that are going to come together and make it happen. So I'm just excited for that, just the different collaborations too.
I was telling you, I was in Chicago in March, and like everybody has a Chance story.
Yeah.
Every like Uber driver, every taxi driver, they're all like, like when you spend time with somebody like that, you're like, I got to up my game. Yeah. This guy is like, right now he's like 80% like giving back to community, 20% like, working on, he just seems like everywhere.
Yeah. He's put out a few songs.
Yeah,
but
I know.
No, but it has been way more.
Yeah. It was like mixtapes a couple years ago. Now it's really taken off. But he was like, most people are like, I'm going to do the career for a little while. And he's just like, he's all in.
I mean, he's done a lot of great things, man. The city of Chicago really needs it. It has a lot of BS going on with the infrastructure and politically. So it is energizing just seeing what he does and being able to help with a couple of things, and it's really dope.
I suspect the internet has probably helped too. I mean, your ability to put a video out there, that you can basically to some degree like live wherever you want and still be prolific online.
Yeah, I mean, as far as just getting out information or sharing work, the internet has changed that for everybody in general. You just build a fan base. You don't need to be in a certain city to grow your base and then you're in whatever town is not considered the major market.
I mean, not that like Chicago's like a
no. I'm just talking in general about the current landscape of just internet people that have come from other cities that aren't considered the spot that you move to or whatever. But these people go on the road and sell out shows from their town because you're not doing. You can build an audience without doing that. The typical grind of doing all these small shows and all that. It's a great tool, man. And it's just a great tool for obviously sharing information and just, when you do have good ideas or have something going on, just saying, hey, I got this going on. So, and then people just say, oh, try this or reach out to this person. I've talked about things on podcasts before and people are here on the podcast. I heard you looking for this. Well, here's this guy. And I do this. Or even when I was a couple years ago talking about the art center, people reached out. Oh, I want to help with that. Or I do this and I work with this place. So it's definitely made it where you can be connected and push ideas forward.
Going forward, like next couple of years, like what do you see the breakdown being? I mean, do you still enjoy stand up and you still want that to be a big part? But what do you see sort of being your kind of primary?
I think I wanna pivot more towards.
So you're learning our lingo. Pivot.
Yeah.
Like you hang around the startup people.
I want to pivot and scale
a little
bit. And then we're hoping to exit. But I just want to pivot more towards online kind of consistency and just producing. What does that mean,
consistency?
Just having a web show, even doing a talk show and in Chicago, that style thing. Live show, like internet talk show with a band. Guests,
like the Eric Andre thing, but you sort of
it's a talk show.
Yeah,
that's how. And so just doing that on a daily and putting that out just to keep people engaged and just doing that type of thing just so the audience. So I'm still building an audience and entertaining, but not necessarily touring as much. So yeah, I want to try because that's one thing I have used the internet to my benefit, but I don't really. haven't had an internet thing where I've been truly consistent and, every week at this time. I have a podcast, but we've been iffy on our time and we're about to start back up. But as far as just nailing it and just seeing like what happens if you're doing something every day and you give it to them every day, or you every week at this time and you build that. I haven't seen how that pays off yet. So I'm interested to see it. Okay, I've done all right, but what if I actually kept a schedule?
Yeah. So you feel like you're going to scale back the stand-up?
Not scale back, but just not tour as much. I mean, I toured pretty heavy over these past few years. And so I plan on recording a special in February. And I'll do some gigs and a promo tour of that. But then you really kind of want to let people miss you a little bit.
So you're doing a weekly podcast?
No, I mean on the live side. The live side, that live ticket is different, and the podcast builds that when you come back. So you don't want to hit a city, you try to find that fine line between riding a wave and making people miss you on the road. So you want to space it out a little bit.
Is touring just too much of a grind?
No, it's not. I mean, it can. Touring it could be what you want it to be. So you could be. It's just you could do it. You can say. Some people just say, okay, I'm just gonna do these 2 weekends. Some people just say, I work 2 weekends a year. I mean, not 2 weekends a year. 2 weekends a month I do. Or I might just do 1 weekend a month. Or some people they'll do all their touring, book me February, March. So it's not just, it's a grind. It's just doing something different too. Just mixing it up. I know what that is. You know what I mean? Going to a city and doing stand up. So unless I come up with something that's super exciting for me to tour, like something that's different with the show, or that's really fresh to me, I don't see the need to tour right away after I put out this special.
The internet has kind of spoiled me as a writer, because I can just do something and put it out in the world. I talk to musicians who spend like all this time working on a record.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of sits on the shelf for a little while. They have to wait for it, which I guess is actually probably pretty similar to doing a movie, right? You carve out a certain amount of your life to do it.
Yeah. Oh, the movie cycle, dude. It's so long, man. Yeah. Especially when you just, used to the immediacy of stand up, waiting for a movie to come out. It'll be on the short end, it'll be 9 months. That's a fast turnaround from wrapping a movie to premiere date, 9 months. And every time I do a movie and they say this is the release date, I'm like, it's pretty easy to die in between then. Mike,
but that'd be good for the movie's bottom line. Though.
So
Hannibal's final film.
I guess so. I mean, if I got back end, if I don't have back end, I don't care.
It doesn't matter if you have back end if you're dead, Hannibal.
Think about my family,
That's true.
dog.
Okay.
Listen, man, you're too single-minded, dog. Think bigger than yourself.
All right.
I got nieces and nephews and folks around, man. See, dog, legacy, man.
Do you enjoy it, though? You enjoy the process of making a big movie like that?
Not really.
No.
I mean, parts of it, the whole thing, but there's parts that are enjoyable. It's just that the issue I have with it is just the filming. That's probably what you spend the least time doing, is actually filming. It's a lot of just sitting around.
That's the pain in the ass about traveling, is like, it's all the stuff it takes to do it. It's the airport. It's, it's like being on the plane. It's all that. And then the actual time that you're spending on stage is maybe just an hour or two.
Yeah, but then it's the difference because it's yours, and you there's adjustments that you can make with the show, changing order, and you can say this worked like this the night before. I could try, but with acting, you if you're acting on somebody else's project, you're just just saying other people's stuff, which obviously television and movies. There's lots of great watchable stuff. It's just for me, I don't enjoy it that much when I'm doing it compared to stand-alone. So yeah, that's why, I mean, it will be cool to, you know, I think writing our own project from scratch will be great, or directing at some point, because the director has so much to do. He's very busy. Yeah, he's talking to actors, talking to camera people, makeup. Well, switch this, gotta do. So you, as a director, it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, but you're pretty active.
It's like the community center. You gotta be good at every aspect.
Yeah, or you just have to get people that are really good at those things. So that, yeah, I like just to be active, and so when you're acting on a movie, it's easy to feel like, oh, what am I? I feel like should be doing something else right now.
Your level of fame is interesting. That party that we were at, there was that one guy who walked up to us, because you're very modest. People ask you what you do. I think you say, I'm an entertainer.
I say I work in entertainment. Yeah.
Sort of like path of least resistance.
It's just if they don't know me, then that's what. Yeah, I work in entertainment.
It was funny watching him like slowly try to pinpoint where he knew you from.
Yeah.
Is that a common thing?
Yeah, it is. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll help people out, and then sometimes just let them struggle. Because if somebody asks, what have I seen you in? Or the thing is, they probably have seen me, but I don't like going through stuff. Because if it's the wrong thing, then, or if I'm just naming things, I didn't come here to do that. You know, I didn't come here to like drop resume, like just to help you through this.
I mean, it must be surreal the first time that happens, though. The first time, like, a strange person recognizes you.
Well, it didn't start from, it started from stand-up. You know what I mean? I did stand-up in college, and from doing small college shows on campus, and people, oh, you were doing a show. You did that show. And so when I was only doing stand-up, it was, occasionally bumping into somebody that saw me do stand-up. Even if I was working a regular job, and while I was doing stand-up, sometimes while you working that job, I was delivering sandwiches for some place while I was in college, and I was doing stand-up, and I delivered a sandwich, and some dude was like, I saw you at the show. Or even working at Peter Pit. Just making oh, you got the joke about pigeons. Like, do you want onions on this or what? So being recognized is, but then, it was people that definitely knew what they recognized you for. But when people don't know, but they do, but they don't, it's not the most rewarding conversation to have. Sure. I mean, just as far as just, it's not like I'm saying like, I'm angry about it. It's not the best. Sure. It's not the best use of time.
I mean, it beats any conversation you're going to have at the Pita Pit, though. I mean, things are clearly... Doesn't it? No? I mean, like on the other side of the counter of the Pita Pit?
But it is funny to just have a dinner and then somebody say, hey, where do I know you from? It's like, you interrupted me to be uncertain?
I think you're at a good level, though, because I was actually watching this guy go through this, and part of it, is because we're like on the other side of the world. But to watch him do the transition from like I know you, like as in like, weren't we in high school together?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. People,
but it seems like you've been able to sort of actually make the transition from like people are like, oh no, I don't know you personally, but I've seen you in a thing.
Yeah, people think. Some guy earlier or yesterday at the conference, he's like, he was an African guy. Yeah. You were at the blockchain event a couple weeks ago. And I was like, nah, I wasn't at the blockchain event. He's like, I don't. And then another guy came up later. He's like, wait, where do I know you from? I was like, the blockchain event.
My favorite thing about people is they're convinced they're right. Like, better than anyone else if you were at the blockchain event, but if they decide you were at the blockchain event, they know they were right.
Sometimes this is what happens. Somebody say, Hannibal Buress, and I'd be like, yeah. And they're like, no. And I'm like, all right. All right, fine. You win. Glad we cleared that up.
The great Hannibal Buress recorded that one in my hotel room in Lagos, Nigeria. We were both kind of groggy, but for very different reasons. As he mentioned at the top of the interview, he had stayed up all night and was hoping that the conversation would basically lull him to sleep. I had been up for about 2 minutes, but a very fun conversation nonetheless. Thanks so much to him. I would plug his stuff, but honestly, I'm not really sure where to start. So just check out his Twitter. It's at Hannibal Buress. Easy enough. Thanks again. Thanks to you guys, as always, for listening to the conversation. If you like the show, there are so many ways to support us. If you're a new listener, please subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play. We're on Spotify and YouTube now. Rate and review us. That would be very helpful as well. If you have any feedback, it's rylcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Tumblr. That's rylcast.tumblr.com. That is the first and best place to get all of your RIYL related information. Like us on Facebook. And that's about it for this week. So stick around because we are going to be back just about this time next week with another episode of RIYL.